What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to our first roster bubble series video of the 2024 season. Make sure you go on and hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops, video drops. Share this out. Do all the good stuff. We appreciate you guys as we keep growing and growing every day. We got new stuff for you, Yankees, Giants, all that sort of good stuff. But today is the first episode of the 2024 roster bubble series. I've been doing this series on YouTube, I think, since 2022. So I'm pretty sure it's been since the Dable Shane era has started, and we're going to continue that because a lot of success has gone off of it. A lot of people don't know who these players are, and some of these players actually go to other teams, and those teams, fans, come to YouTube. They're like, okay, who's this player? What's he about? And they'll go on YouTube and some of my videos will come up. So it's a useful resource, not just for New York Giant fans, but for other fan bases as well. But today's candidate for the first roster bubble series episode is going to be Marcus McKethan. It's an interesting candidate. Of course, we're going to conduct probably about 40 or 50 of these because some of these guys might be on the roster. Some of these guys might not be on the roster come September. But let's get into it. We always do an overview. Then we talk about their flaws, maybe a little bit statistics, how they could win a spot on the roster, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and then a projection at the end. So, Marcus McKethan is an interesting candidate. Marcus McKethan was drafted by the New York Giants in 2022 with the 173rd pick in the 5th round, and he was the second UNC offensive lineman that the New York Giants selected. They also selected Josh Ezeudu 2 rounds earlier. And with that said, his first season was a wash. Training camp, he played at right tackle, left guard, right guard. So they were training him to be all over. Not really left tackle or center, but left guard, and right tackle because of injuries and all these other different things. And I guess that was their envision for Marcus McKethan. Not to be a starter, but to be a backup because, hey, 5th round, you don't know what you're going to get. But unfortunately, that came to a close at FanFest. He tore his ACL, was carted off the MetLife turf, and was one of the many Giants in the 2022 draft class to not have a rookie season, or at least most of their rookie season. Darian Beavers was one of them. DJ Davidson was one of them. So there was a couple of names on that list. So coming into the next year, right, the Giants successful, O-line decent, coming off the first year, but no one really had expectations for Marcus McKethan. There was hubbub around the fan base, just fan talk about, hey, maybe Marcus McKethan can come in and take Mark Glowinski's spot. And he eventually did that. Injuries started to pile up, and he was playing decent in the preseason. Not bad, not great, not outstanding, not terrible, but he was playing okay. In the limited snaps you saw, he was playing with the second and third team squads. Again, the envision was for him to be a backup, but also rehab at the same time because he was coming off a torn ACL. So he was on the PUP most of training camp. And he comes into the season. He does not play in week 1. He plays in week 2 because they bench Mark Glowinski immediately after the week 1 performance, which was pretty goddamn awful. I'm pretty sure he played the right guard position right next to Evan Neal because if I remember correctly, it was, I don't think Thomas played. So it was Ezeudu, Bredesen, John Michael Schmitz, McKethan, and then right tackle Evan Neal. So that's how the lineup came through. And then they started to really mix up this lineup. It was like, I want to say 7, 8, maybe even 9 weeks without a consistent O-line lineup because Josh Ezeudu gets hurt eventually. Andrew Thomas comes back in the lineup. This guy gets injured. JMS gets hurt. Evan Neal gets hurt. So it was a lot of jumping around. And he would start most of the games. I remember in week 5, he only played a little bit of the snaps, specifically 38%. And then against the Jets, he only played a little bit. Did not play against the Raiders. Played a little bit against the Dallas Cowboys, which was basically a blowout game, and then played against the Eagles the final game of the season. He was pretty much benched in between weeks 11 and 16. Obviously, it wasn't meaningful for the Giants at that point, but they did put their best 5 out there, which they thought at the time was Justin Pugh at left guard. Justin Pugh actually alternated, but left guard Justin Pugh, left tackle Andrew Thomas, JMS, right guard Glowinski or Bredesen, and then right tackle was a mixture of guys. 1 week it was Tyree Phillips. He gets injured for the rest of the year, and it was just a complete and utter shit show. One of the biggest problems Marcus McKethan has, in my opinion, is his hand usage. And this kind of goes back to Josh Azudu's problems, which were not fixed by Bobby Johnson. And I brought this up in the preseason. I brought this up multiple times, but people did not listen to me. But one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, with Marcus McKethan is his hand usage. Now, you move on to his competition. By the way, in 2023, 2 sacks and 17 pressures given up by McKethan in a total of, let's see, 1, 2, actually, hold on, let me start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish games where he got credible playing time. Not special teams or this, that, and the third, but just overall credible playing time. Credible playing time at that, not special teams, not this, that, and the third, but on his record, 16 games, 5 games started. So there you have it, 36% of the snaps. Moving forward, what does his competition look like? It is Aaron Stinney, and I'm considering all interior guys. I'm not considering Matt Nelson or the exterior guys. I'm talking about interior guys. I'm not talking about center guys either, so that's off the list. Aaron Stinney, who is a veteran from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Austin Schlodman, veteran center from the Vikings, Jake Kubas, who is an undrafted free agent, Jimmy Morrissey, who spent time with the Raiders and I believe the Texans, and Jalen Mayfield, who spent most of the time with the Giants last year with all of the O-line injuries. He played a bit of right guard, left guard, and right tackle. So how can Marcus McKethan win a spot on the roster? I think he has to show, like a lot of guys in this roster, that he was a product of the awful coaching by Bobby Johnson, that he wasn't getting him right, and he has to improve. He has to improve his hand usage. I don't know how the foot speed is. He's not as athletic as Josh Azudu, so there's that, but he definitely was worse in pass protection than in the run blocking. Same story for Azudu, but that's another discussion for another day. He also has to stay healthy. Staying healthy is going to be a big part of these episodes. I'm going to talk about it pretty much each and every episode unless the guy that we're talking about has this clean injury history. Marcus McKethan doesn't. He got hurt in 2022. In 2023, he started 5 games and then pretty much filled in as a sub. But he's going to have to stick on as a 5th-round pick, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens because the Giants, in my opinion, signed a lot of these guards, Schlodman, Stinney, Jimmy Morrissey, veterans, because guys like Azudu and Marcus McKethan really have not panned out as backups or even starters for that matter. So it's competition once again. And Joe Schoen really doesn't want to admit failure on a 5th-round pick this early. He probably wants to give it another 2 years. So he's got to stay healthy. He's got to improve vastly. Those are my main 2 things. And even just be an average guard, right? The preseason is usually, the testing point because some guys could be good in the preseason. They make the roster and then they're complete shit in the regular season. But you probably won't have that much of a sample size in the regular season if McKethan makes the roster because you have so many guys in front of him and he's not even projected to crack the starting lineup. How can he lose? Hand usage still being an issue and lack of health. Lack of health would be a bigger detriment, in my opinion, than hand usage. Because, again, got hurt in 2022 with the ACL, and then he gets hurt in training camp or gets hurt in a preseason, and then all of these guys just surpass him, and then boom, you hit suddenly. It's going to be his 4th year under contract, and then after that, guess what they could say? You're out of here. Or they could even say in 2025, hey, listen, we got linemen better than you. You're just a 5th-round pick. You didn't work out. Bye-bye. So that could happen, and then hand usage still being an issue. Now, Joe Schoen could cut him in the middle of the season if he doesn't work, but again, lack of health is a bigger detriment in my personal opinion. So how can he win? Improve vastly with Carmen Brasillo and James Ferentz, the former Patriots offensive lineman, who is now the assistant O-line coach, and staying healthy. And how can he lose? Hand usage is still an issue, lack of health. Surprisingly, though, I do project him to make the final roster. I think the Giants are going to keep about 9 to 10 linemen. I think Joe Schoen will want to keep both of his draft picks. Maybe, I don't know. Again, training camp is little further away. But I think McKethan sticks it out because no good O-line coach, shit ton of combinations last year. I think respectfully he does deserve another crack at it, but he doesn't deserve meaningful playing time as, oh, he should start over this guy. I think he's got to be a backup. But like, comment, subscribe, folks. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. Appreciate you all coming back. We've got a lot more of these to go. This is episode 1 of the New York Giants Roster Bubble series. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.